Welcome to Light News Radio, health and self-empowerment for the whole human being. Featuring your host, Dr. J, proprietor of Light News, author, spiritual counselor, international lecturer, and co-host Deirdre Layton, minister, energy facilitator, and spiritual counselor. Today, they support individuals to master their own uniqueness and divine karmic path. Light News Radio features strategies on how to overcome the obstacles of today's belief systems to become awakened and self-empowered. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. J and Deirdre Layton.
Welcome, everyone, to Light News Radio, Realms of Self-Empowerment. I am Dr. J, your host, and my most amazing and effulgent co-host is Deirdre Layton. Together we work to bring you a grounded spirituality and metaphysics of the whole human being. Light News Radio features interviews with those illuminated people who are walking their spiritual talk. We are your hosts, here to help you live a more self-aware, spiritually awakened life, and to offer the tools and techniques to help you empower your journey. So come aboard, everybody, and travel the light waves with us. We have an amazing show for you today. We almost can't stand it, but we're going to hold off for a little bit because I'm going to bring on my amazing co-host Deirdre, and we're going to talk a little bit about something that happened just this week. How you doing, Deirdre?
I'm doing awesome, and I'm still like riding that high from our amazing event this week. So I'm going to just hold for a second, and I'm really sorry about this, but someone's turned the vacuum on, and I need to have it stop. So hold on. No!
Well, maybe you should mute the mic before. That's a lot of.
I thought I did.
On vacuum. You really sure you need that one suction?
I had to open the door to tell my husband to not vacuum. This is live radio. What can you do? And,
you heard it here, listeners.
He's got his head of earmuffs on, and he's talking to me.
You heard it here, listeners. Deirdre lives in a tremendous suction.
All righty. So, I was about to say...
That's a good segue.
That's a great segue.
You weren't talking about something that sucks.
On Monday night, we did our very first ever intuitive flower readings via Skype. And I was in Family Matters in Northeast Calgary, and it was amazing. We had a group of young women there, and then Richard, of course, was in San Diego. And so I set up my Skype camera so that it was just showing on the flowers, and Richard went ahead and did this flower readings. And listeners, if you don't know what flower readings are, basically the individual will spend some time with the flower, and they will meditate on it, or just nurture it if they wish. Some people drop it on the ground. It doesn't matter. But what happens is your energetic imprint goes into that flower, and Dr. Jelicic reads your energy imprint and your consciousness from the flower and tells you about yourself and tells you what's going on and why and what you can do and how to fix it if something's going on in your life that you need fixing or whatever. And we did this through the great airwaves of the internet, and it was, well, you floored them. You just, like my vacuum here a moment ago.
For those of you that don't know, Skype is a medium you can use for your computer that allows you to connect by video if it's just two people, or if you pay for more, you can connect more people by live video. So we had a camera pointed at the flowers on the table in Canada, and I'm sitting here in San Diego, and I'm looking at a screen that's pointed at, in this case, 4 flowers. And they can see me on a big TV screen, just my face. So I have no idea who brought which flower. And I'm over 1,000 miles away. So we did this live on Monday night, where I would just look at a flower and I'd say, okay, here is the white and lavender colored orchid. And I would read for about 10 minutes on what I felt about the person who had brought that flower. Then I'd move on to the next flower and do a little healing on each one. So about 10, 12 minutes on each flower. And so what makes this so great is that, we've entered a new era where we can do these flower readings live at any distance and have me come into their home, let's say, without me having to physically be there. And the readings are then, of course, recorded and then either sent by Dropbox to them by file or by CD. So we have entered a whole new chapter in Light News of doing this work remotely, of course, to show you that distance doesn't matter, that we are all connected, and that there is no separation.
Well, and the interesting thing about the whole evening is on my end, I had the mic muted, listeners, so that Richard could not hear the discussions that these women were having in the room while he was, reading these flowers. And I had to giggle a couple of times because the women would look at each other and they would say, what he's telling you is so true. How can you not ignore that? He's so right on. Normally the audience or the participants don't get that opportunity because, Richard is sitting there with them and he asks them to be quiet and just to wait, until it's done because he doesn't want to know whose flower it is. So this put a whole new twist for me on what a flower reading is and really saw the enjoyment and, from these women. And they were, the two of them said, we almost didn't come.
Right. There was some incredulity because people would come and they say, oh, well, he's not physically here. He's going to do it long distance. So there's a little bit of doubt that goes into that says, well, my gosh, how is that possible? But once they sat through it, and then Deirdre interviewed them and recorded their comments so that we could then play them for future people who would like to have these kind of flower readings in their home, but where I can't physically travel to be there, and yet we can still do this quite nicely. So we're in a very, very, very exciting time.
Well, and you know what? It's only going to get more exciting. I'm just so looking forward to the development of Light News and how I see it growing and where we see things moving. And even here with the radio show now on Spreaker, we can, anyone can go and they can listen to these shows. And I know that our wonderful producer in the background
Lisa
is going to, he's going to put up the last 6 months worth of shows also for us. I spoke with the owner, Kimberto Smith, the other day, and we're in the process of getting some of our old shows, which, we've lost the links to when everything changed over, up onto Spreaker so that you can go back and you can listen to those old shows. And my assistant, Erin Teichrove, is also downloading them from the Old Gold Radio site. So if there was ever a show that you have missed, soon we will also have them on our website, www.lightnews.org.
Exactly.
So, lots of exciting things happening, and it's going to be so much fun.
No more vacuums, Dee?
No more vacuums. Actually, my husband opened the door and he says, I'm not going to do dishes either.
Of course not. Okay, so this is a good chapter though with flower readings, because one of the main reasons I've been doing flower readings for over 24 years, I've been doing flower readings, and one of the main reasons is it's very difficult to teach the spirituality from one person to another. How do you do that? Well, what I do is by taking a risk. In other words, I don't know whose flower is whose. When I'm physically there, I simply pick it up and I trust what I'm feeling. I look for the dominant chakra, other chakras, how they're doing, and I talk about that person's character in this lifetime, strengths, weaknesses, always in an appropriate way for a group setting. But it's one of the most difficult things to do is to teach that the spirituality of the human being is actually very real. So under that premise, I put myself at risk because I show that through faith and trusting in the higher self, that we really can achieve higher states of consciousness, which thus overcomes the illusion that causes us suffering. So this is why flower readings, I've been doing flower readings, Canada, U.S., Mexico, Germany,
at least
Switzerland.
25 years, right? At least.
24 years. I just said that, yeah, and in Japan as well. So we've entered a whole new era in flower readings where I no longer have to physically be there to do them, which makes it available to that many more people to show that everyone's in tune. It's not just about me, it's that we all are in tune. There is no separation. There's only oneness.
So, that being said, listeners, anybody out there who is interested on hosting a flower reading via Skype, if you contact me before the end of next week and book it, we will make sure that we put a little incentive in there for you. So, not sure what type of incentive we'll have, but Richard and I will talk about it off air, but I think that this is a great way to start promoting the flower readings online. And so reach us at info@lightnews.org or 877-242-5721. And let's make this global. I tell you, it's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah, I like that word, incentment. I think, we're coming up with a new vocabulary as we go here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Why not?
Very good. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Well, as you can tell, Dee is roaring and ready to go because we have a particularly interesting host who I met at the Subtle Energy Retreat at the Blue Sky Ranch in San Diego, I believe back in September. And I'm not going to take Dee's thunder. I'll let her fully introduce our guest today. But she's an amazing person, and I believe she may be at the Subtle Energy Retreat, as will I, in April of this year in San Diego. So why don't you go ahead, Dee?
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Teresa has been or is the co-president for LifeSpark Cancer Resources, and she's a certified hypnotherapist, but she has specialized her training in cellular release therapy and medical hypnosis. But that's not why we have her on the show. We have her on the show today because Richard met her some time ago and was talking about her and listening to the work that she has been doing. And so she is a sound healer and a member of the Sound Healers Association and practices, sound healing with nature is my best way of explaining it. And we'll bring her online here any second here and get her to explain it more fully. But, she talks to the plants and the plants talk to her. Teresa, are you there?
I am, Dee. Thank you so much.
I probably, could have gone into more details, but basically you do. You talk to the plants and the plants talk to you. Am I right?
That is a pretty accurate description, yes.
So can you give us a little bit of details on how that works?
Before you get started, I want to pump her up just a little bit more. When I went to the Subtle Energy Retreat, Teresa had developed a kind of an apparatus that can attach to a plant and measure its biofeedback, its actual consciousness and heartbeat. And she had plants that she had taken with her and connected this apparatus to it. And a person would come and sit with the plant and meditate with it. And the actual tunes, the actual music, if you will, that the plant was creating from its consciousness would shift and change according to the person who was working with the plant. So Teresa also has the equipment for sale so that you could do your own research, including she has a huge list of CDs that she's created from different types of plants whose consciousness she's recorded. And, of course, all that's available on her website. So I just wanted to prepare our audience for this amazing show in this way. So please.
You should have done the intro.
We're a team. We work together.
You both did a phenomenal job. And, this is leading edge technology. This is leading edge stuff that we're all talking about here. And I'm just honored to be on the show and be a part of what you all are doing. And, I think offline, there's some collaboration there between us, you doing the flower readings and my plant music. I could
Sure.
see some collaboration happening in the future between those two things. I think they'd be a great fit. So thank you both very much. I really appreciate that. And yeah, just to kind of give you a better description, I didn't develop the equipment. I was introduced to the equipment in 2007 over in Italy at an eco-spiritual community named Dominaher, the Federation of Dominaher that developed it.
Yes.
Yeah, they developed it. But when I was introduced to it, I was had an out-of-body experience when I heard a birch tree playing music, and I saw this vision, and I've been kind of guided by this vision and how Spirit spoke to me that day, and have been on this wonderful journey that is in a direction that I never imagined my life would be in, but has been the best adventure of my life. My life is so magical and fun and joyous now that I'm doing just exactly what you guys were talking about. You have faith and trust in your higher self and the guidance, and that's kind of what the plant music has done for me. And so the equipment it's a biofeedback system that has been adapted to measure the electrical resistance of vegetable tissue. So if you took this equipment and connected it to a human, you would not be able to pick up any kind of biofeedback readings because it's been adapted to plants. And what happens is you have an alligator clip that you connect to a grounding wire. So it can be a nail, it could be a copper wire, it could be anything that would cause some grounding that's put into the soil. And what that electrode does is picked up the electrical frequency of the root system of the plant. And then you have another electrode that connects to the leaf of the plant. And it does the same thing. But between the two connections, you get a complete frequency that the plant is emitting. And the biofeedback machine then translates that frequency into sound using a MIDI synthesizer. So the equipment provides the plant with the sound, but the plant manipulates the sound and creates its own music. So it's like if a kid was in band, like I was when I was younger, I played the trumpet and I played the French horn. Well, they would provide me with the instrument, but I had to make the music by playing the horn, whether it was the trumpet or the French horn. So right. That's the same thing with the plant. The plant then, based on, in my research and what I've learned over the past 9 years, is that the plant feeds off of everyone that's around them, and the plant is able to, through the spiritual consciousness that's in the plant, able to tap into everyone, no matter how many people are there, and touch it in some way or provide it with whatever it needs. And that's what you experienced when you were at the Subtle Energy retreat in September when we met.
Yes, I got one of your CDs. Awesome. I got one of your CDs, and I played it for my students, and I said, "What do you think that is?" And we don't know. I said, "You're listening to the consciousness of a plant." Really?
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
Hey, Dee, why don't we ask our producer Nisha to play the first one, Heavenly Hydrangea? But before he does, Teresa, could you just give it a little intro before he plays it?
You bet. The Heavenly Hydrangea CD is it's 5 different variations of the hydrangea plant all on one CD. So there's 5 different tracks. And these hydrangeas were in full bloom no, they weren't. It was in the late summer. It was midsummer of last year up in Michigan, up by Grand Lake, Michigan. And they hadn't flowered, so these weren't flowering, but they still played, and they all played similar music from the same family. So I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, isn't that something? Just amazing.
Mm-hmm. My website is plantmusictherapy.com. And if you are interested in receiving some music, well, I think that's the next CD you'll be playing is Elements of Healing when we get to that point. But you can get a free 4.5-minute meditation, sound meditation from Pixie, my prayer plant, who is the one that started all of this with me. If you go to my website, plantmusictherapy.com, and sign up to receive it, it's free.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so amazing. I know that Richard had some questions and stuff, but when we were off air before we came on air, I was mentioning to you that as a child, I could hear the trees and hear the grasses and the flowers and everything. And it's funny because, when I sit and I think about it now, I really didn't hear them speaking in a normal voice. I more or less heard music. So it's interesting that that this is where we are today, and this is what we have on the show. So
it's also interesting.
I'm Lululand. It's okay.
It's also interesting how we tend to coalesce our consciousnesses into one single point in time, because all three of us have been working with plants and animals. When my students graduate from their healers training, I offer an additional advanced course called Shapeshifting. And years ago, there was a place called Morro Bay, which is on the Central California coastline, another place called Los Osos, which just means the bears nearby. And there are groves of these incredibly beautiful tall trees. So I took a group there to these trees in this idyllic setting by the ocean with the fog, and the Morro Bay has this huge rock that's out there in the water. Anyway, this beautiful setting, and we were connecting with the consciousness of the trees. And of course, when you go up, let's say the coast of Vancouver, up to British Columbia, there are indigenous peoples like the Haida and others, and they have these wood carvings of, let's say, an orca eating a human being or a bear eating a human being. And what it means is, if you really want to be an orca, you have to let go of being a human. If you really want to be a bear, you have to let go of being a human. So it has nothing to do with eating anything. It means giving in. So if you really want to merge with the consciousness of the tree, you have to let go of just the human part of you and actually do the merge, so that ultimately you are that and that is you.
Yes, yes. You are right on, totally right on. And I agree with you 100%. That is so true. So very true. And I've experienced that myself in the years of working with the plants. And, my prayer plant, Pixie, who is the one that is my partner in all of this. She's been teaching me that for many, many years, and continually reminds me of that when I have a tendency to be too human.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, like when I talked about flower readings, this applies to you too, is that people come up to you and say, so like what? I'm supposed to talk to a plant? How do I? Right? Am I a plant hugger as well as a tree hugger? What am I? So, you must have your challenges at times, Teresa, to get people from that guarded mentality state into a receptive state to actually be able to sense that interconnection and communication.
That is true. Yes, I agree 100%. Yes, so that is correct.
How did the research start to, how did you get totally involved in the research side of it? Like, what really triggered you to that?
Well, it's really funny. So, when I first came home from Italy with the plant music equipment, and I was all excited, to share it with the world, nobody, of course, was ready for it back then. And they all thought I was on drugs, or, they thought I went on some kind of ayahuasca trip or something.
But of course.
Because they couldn't, it was much different world back then, back in 2007 than it is now. And so I worked privately in my home. I learned real quick not to talk about it. And I just worked in my home and made some progress. But in the beginning, I couldn't get the plants to play. I killed a lot of plants, unfortunately. And the way I like to look at it is they sacrificed their lives so I could learn what not to do when you are combining electrical magnetic frequencies and electricity with a living spiritual being, which is what plants are. And so,
Right.
that was one of the big things I had to learn. And after, things started going and Pixie came to me in a meditation is how her and I became partners. I kind of, after killing all these plants, kind of felt like, I had this vision. I felt like I received my purpose and my calling from, my higher power, and I'm not able to fulfill it. And what's wrong? So I decided to give it a break. And during that month that I was giving it a break, I did a meditation in my backyard, and this vision of the leaves of this plant came into my meditation. And I heard the plant say, I'm going to teach you how to do the plant music.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
And as soon as the plant came in my meditation and said that, it went away. And I was like, but wait, what kind of plant? I don't know. But emotionally, I was like, oh, right back where I was when I was first introduced to it. And about 3 days later, I went to my favorite nursery, and I walked around the corner, and there was a whole table of this type of plant there. I still didn't know what kind it was, but I recognized the leaves. And my husband was with me, and I went over to that table just like a little kid in a candy store, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm picking up every plant.
Right.
Are you the plant that was talking to me? Are you the plant? And my husband went off to the other side going, oh my God, she's crazy. And so I found out that it was a prayer plant, and I ended up finding the one that was right, and I brought it home. And so her and I have been developing this relationship ever since, and she's the one that's been teaching me. But I'm a sound healer, as you were talking about in the intro, and I do crystal bowl events and gong events and different kinds of sound healing private sessions and stuff. And I was curious as to what kind of changes happen in the body with sound healing.
Right.
So I had found someone who does live blood cell testing, and she had done it with someone who plays the gong. And I thought, oh, well, I want to find out what happens with the crystal bowls. And so I had hired her to do a day's worth of testing on different people receiving crystal bowl sessions and to test the blood before and after to see if we'd see any changes. And as it would happen, one day, as I'm putting all this together, I'm sitting next to my plant Pixie, and I hear her say, well, what about me? Why don't you test the plant music? And I went, oh, I never even thought about that. Okay, let's just see what happens. So I had one person receive just a crystal bowl session. I had one person receive just a plant music session. And then I had another person who received a combination of the crystal bowl and the plant music. And we tested their blood before and after, and we were just amazed at what we saw with the plant music only. And it had more dramatic results than any of the others that we had tested. And I that's exactly what my response was, Dee. I was like, wow, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm not a researcher. What the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it took about a month for me to wrap my head around it and figure out what I wanted to do with this or what I was supposed to do. And then I put together a 12-week study just on the plant music and using live blood cell testing to see what happens. And during that 12 weeks, it was just phenomenal what we discovered. The body people, the blood showed that the body was detoxing. It also, the symptoms that the person was having also reflected that they were going through detox. So, they were having like headaches and cramps and dehydration and that kind of thing. So, we had to up their water intake and maybe start taking an electrolyte drink because they were getting one session a week with the plant music and their body was going through some major detoxing. So in essence, in the beginning, their blood was great and their body was great, but the more they did it, then the more their crap was getting cleaned out of their body. And after 12 weeks, their blood was better than it was when they first started the study. And we saw that the immune system got boosted. We saw that reduction. There was a huge reduction in stress. People felt more at peace and well balanced and centered. There was even one person who said that they were looking forward every time they came because they would have these conversations with Pixie, and they viewed it as like Pixie being their spiritual guru. And so they would come to the session with problems, and they would have a mental conversation with Pixie during the time that she was playing music for them and ask Pixie for help. And lo and behold, by the time the session was over, they would have some kind of aha moment or clarity or new direction or new ideas on what they should do to solve that problem. So it's been very, very interesting.
Well, would this be a good time to bring in your elements of healing sample?
Yes, it would. That would be a perfect time.
Do you need to preface it before Nisha plays it?
This Elements of Healing CD is, we recorded the music that Pixie played during that 12 weeks. And this is one of the weekly sessions that she played during the session where we saw the blood changes.
That's amazing. So, Nisha, if you don't mind queuing that up, and we're going to get started.
Okay, well, we're back, and I hope that you also took the opportunity to tune in while that's being played. And another thing that all of our listeners should know is these shows are always recorded. You know, Teresa, of course, will be able to keep a copy of the show for her own use, but we will also have these shows available to you should you miss them today, or simply would you like to, listen to Teresa and her amazing compilations. You should know that this is just scratching the surface. When you go on her website, there are many different types of CDs that approach this consciousness and healing from different directions.
Thank you. Yes. And, there's something that's coming I just wanted to share with you guys real quick is, when I was out in the Redwood Forest last September, it was, when I had that vision several years ago in Italy, one of the visions was to be in the Redwood Forest and recording the redwood trees playing music. But something I didn't really think about till I got there, I have to connect to a leaf and the root system. And you know how tall redwood trees are? And you know how high?
Oh, yes, indeed. I've been there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta see.
So you took your 30-foot extension ladder with you into the backwoods.
There are some trees, the sequoias, where it's 100 feet up to the very first branch.
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly. And I just trust this journey, and I know I'm supposed to be there. So as my uncle and I've got this like suitcase on wheels that has all my equipment in it. And I have a portable battery system so that I don't have to have electricity when I'm out in the wild, and I can still do it. But it's, kind of cumbersome. It's not something you can put on your backpack. So we're traipsing through the Redwood Forest with this suitcase on wheels, and I'm looking up going, holy cow. I can imagine. How am I going to find a way to connect to a leaf, And as soon as I had that thought, we kind of round the corner of the path that we were going. And lo and behold, there is a redwood tree that had to be 30 feet in diameter. And its leaves came down 6 feet from the ground. And I was like, oh my gosh, you've been waiting for me.
Then you got to find a 47-mile extension cord.
What would happen if you had use the bark? Would it not have worked the same? Or
good question, Dee. Really good question.
Yeah, it is a great question. And for this equipment, the bark is too dense. It's too dense, and so that's why you try to go to the leaf, or if you're on a flower, go to the petal of the flower. And then there's some plants that might have a very thin stem, where you can go to the stem. Most, especially bigger plants, don't have a small stem. So the denser it is, the harder it is for the equipment to work with it. So that's why we try to use the leaf, and the root system makes it much easier.
Have you ever worked with a Gerber daisy?
I have not. I would love
to
work with a Gerber daisy.
Yeah, one of my favorite flowers.
It's my favorite flower, and I tell you, I swear, daisies. When I do flower readings, because I've been with working with Richard now for, a number of years. And he does flower readings. I won't attempt to do them over Skype, people, but I like to have the person one-on-one. But when I do flower readings, the ones that I love to do are the daisy family, the Gerbers or the field daisies. They just seem to want to dance. And so I just thought, so do let me know when you.
I will.
A Gerber daisy.
Well, that's a good point, Dee, because you had questions on there. I think there were 4 and 5. Make sure you ask questions 4 and 5, because that'll go right into how our listeners can get involved as well.
Yeah, well, some of the questions, listeners, that we always ask our guests for questions ahead of time. And one of the questions that we have on here is, how can people get involved and learn more? So, there's those questions. So my putting out there is that I would love to hear when you get a Gerber daisy done, and how can people find out more information?
Well, that's a wonderful segue, Dee and Richard. Thank you very much. Just go to plantmusictherapy.com and sign up to receive the free meditation. And you will be on my list so that as I increase my catalog of recordings, then you will be the first to be notified of when those are happening and when they'll be out. And one of the visions that I had received was, to catalog as many plants and flowers and trees playing music as possible, as well as traveling to high energy places around the world and recording how do the plants play different in a high energy frequency location as opposed to another location. Is there a difference? Is there not a difference? And is there a difference in how it impacts the body and the emotions and the spirit as opposed to not? Or is it the same? And so, I'm going to be making plans to travel down to the Amazon rainforest. I would love to go down to the Amazon and record. Yeah. So here's what my belief is. I don't know if it's true. I haven't been able to scientifically prove it yet, but someday I'll be able to prove it either right or wrong. But it is my belief, based on what Pixie has taught me, that we do not have to kill the plants in order to receive the healing benefits of them. And so what would happen if I could go to the rainforest where they have all these indigenous plants out there that they use for medicinal purposes, and we could record them playing music, and people wouldn't have to go to the Amazon to receive the benefits of those. They could just listen to them play and receive the medical benefits from them.
Yeah, the shamans say that is connecting to the elemental of the plant. The elemental is the spirit of the plant that makes the plant, just like your spirit makes you the physical you that you are in this lifetime. And, your listeners, Teresa, are also going to want to know how they can follow the research itself by studying it. And they're also going to want to know if they can buy any of those apparatus, electronic systems that you have so that they could do their own research.
Yes, you can. And it is my belief that every household should have one so that everyone can reap the benefits from it.
Yeah, just go right out there and say it.
Now that's shamelessly self-promoting yourself.
Very good, Teresa. That's perfect.
So all you need to do, you can email me. My email address is Teresa, Teresa, at plantmusictherapy.com. Or you can go onto my website and sign up. You can attend one of my sound healing and plant kingdom events. In fact, I have a very exciting event to share with you, and I'm so glad you're going to be there, Richard. At the Subtle Energy Retreat in April, it starts, the very first day of the retreat starts on Earth Day, which is Friday, April 22nd. And it has been a dream of mine and Pixie's to do a plant music concert on Earth Day, and I'm going to be able to do it at the Subtle Energy Retreat. So what that means is there's going to be between 10 and 12 different plants, trees, shrubs, and flowers, all playing music together and creating a concerto for the people that will be there listening. And they can either lie on the ground and meditate, they can walk the labyrinth, they can do an open eye meditation, whatever they want, while the plants are putting on this concert for them. And I'm really excited about it. And if you happen to be in the San Diego area, please come to the Blue Sky Ranch on Earth Day, and that you will not want to miss this. In fact, I will tell you, this is the very first time in the U.S. that this has ever happened.
So
That's
my
wonderful.
question to you is, we are planning a plant medicine conference with Dr. Jelicic through Light News for 2017.
In
and
Canada.
I want in Canada, and I want to make arrangements that we can get you there. Would you like to come and present?
Absolutely. Pixie's leaves are like jumping. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I count me in.
All right. Well, we'll keep you posted. So one final question for you then, Teresa, is, we always have people that come onto our show that are going to help others, help individuals find their way. And we'd like to ask our guests if there's one thing that they could offer or say or give to our listeners that would help them become self-empowered or empower their lives. What would that be? What would you suggest? Or give?
Well, I have two things. So the first thing is, when you're really stressed out and life is starting to get to you, the quickest and the easiest way, I feel, to let go of that stress, of course, is breathing. But there's another way, and all you have to do is go out, stand barefoot in the grass, or sit and lean up against a tree. Put your back up against the tree and breathe. And, nature, Gaia, our planet, and all of the plants that are part of this planet, we are here because of them. And so they are here to serve us. They are here to enrich life. They are here to continue life. And we have forgotten about that. The majority of our society has. And so, number one, anytime you're feeling stressed out, get back in touch with nature, whether it's putting your bare feet on the grass. There's a lot to be said about earthing and what the Earthing Institute has discovered. And then also, when you're leaning up against the back of a tree, just closing your eyes and trying to get in touch with the tree. Now, if that's a little bit too much for you, here's the other thing, which would be much easier. My free meditation download, you can do that with that 4.5 minutes. All you have to do is come with an intention when you go to listen to that music, and Pixie will help you. She will help you with whatever questions or clarity you might need. She will help you just relax and feel better if you need to. She'll help you feel at peace. I mean, take advantage of that free meditation download, and it will help you as well. And you can download it onto your phone and carry it with you all the time.
Oh, well, that's a great idea. So while we get your contact information, right after we get your contact information, why don't we end with your Grand Lake tree sample?
Oh, that would be perfect. Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Of course.
This is there's something really exciting that's happened here recently, and that is a friend of mine introduced the plant music to a local band in San Diego called Twice Jupiter. And the band leader, the bass guitarist, and a friend of theirs were so inspired and so touched by the music that they heard that Pixie was playing, and that they went immediately into the studio, and they decided that they all individually wanted to put on their headphones and just listen to the CD and just let it come naturally, let inspiration guide what kind of music they played on the guitar. And they recorded each one of the gentlemen doing this. And then they took all 3 of the guitar recordings and put it over the soundtrack of Pixie playing music. And when they went to edit it, they were amazed at how easy and how little editing there had to be done to the music. And so the exciting piece is, I love what they have done with the 2 tracks that they created. So the second track, they added drums to the guitars, and Pixie's playing in the background. And so while I'm down in San Diego at the end of April, we're going to be going into the studio, and they're going to be recording live with
That'll
Pixie
be
in the
great.
studio. Yeah, so I'm really
How
excited
fun.
about that. So if you stay on my website and connect with me on my website, you'll be able to find out about all that stuff. So
And
it's
that website is?
plantmusictherapy.com. Plantmusictherapy.com, and my email address is Teresa@plantmusictherapy.com, and it's spelled Teresa @plantmusictherapy.com.
Well, you know what, Teresa, thank you so much. And as you leave our interview, we will ask Misha to play your last little bit of plant music for us. So, thank you so much.
You're
Yes,
very
thank
welcome.
you. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you
Roll
very
it,
much for
Misha.
having me on the show.
You're welcome. Okay, Dee, we're back live.
Wow. You know what? We've been live all along. We're just really live now.
Okay.
You know, all the stuff that's been going on. You know what? I'm excited that we had, Teresa on the show today, and I'm really looking forward to getting in touch with her because I know that we're looking at doing a plant medicine workshop in 2017, and it would be such a joy to have her as well come and present. So, you know, you're traveling all over the place to Canada and the U.S. And I'm really looking forward to you coming into Calgary, hopefully tonight around 1 a.m.
That's right.
Because we have a busy couple of weeks up here. Of course, on Monday night, you did your first intuitive flower reading via Skype, which was a huge success. Listeners, give me a shout out if you want to have this, and I'll get you all set up because I tell you, those women, I've got a recording and hopefully Erin Teichrob will be able to get that for us. And if you can find it then on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So looking forward to getting that out there. But this coming weekend, you will be teaching Calgary Group 15 and anybody can come between 2 and 4 p.m. for free energy balancing and energy work. And then on Monday night, you're holding a past life karma and reincarnation workshop while I am helping the students with their practice. So that's going to be a double whammy night on Monday night at Family Matters in the Northeast Calgary. Check us out on Meetup and you can find out where Dr. Jelicic is doing meetup sessions and whatnot. And then, of course, on our Light News calendar of events on our Light News page, which is www.lightnews.org. You can sort the calendar by cities, by events, by whatever you're looking for in whatever country. So check that out. Dr. Jelicic will be back in San Diego, and we're really pleased to announce that his events now will be at the Tibetan Healing Center. We are doing all of our events there in the San Diego area, and thanks to Sandra Bushman, we are really working diligently to get the center going more and to get Dr. Jelicic in there. So he's doing a Q&A on the 29th of March at the Tibetan Healing Center in San Diego. The 30th of March, he's doing an intuitive flower reading workshop there. And then on the 31st, he's doing a past life karma and reincarnation workshop, all in San Diego at the Tibetan Healing Center. So you can contact me at info@lightnews.org or, of course, contact the Tibetan Healing Center. In April, Dr. Jelicic will be in Calgary and in San Diego a lot. Our main event in Calgary for April will be, of course, the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo. And that expo is running from the 8th of April to the 11th. We will be in 2 booths this time round and offering little mini healing sessions the whole time. So if you've got questions for Dr. Jelicic, he will be there Friday and Friday evening of the Body, Soul, Spirit Expo. And he'll be there, I believe, Saturday evening as well, depending on what time he finishes teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Then he has a Q&A on the 11th at Families Matters in the Northeast. So, come out and ask your questions. If you are wondering about what you need to ask, don't worry. No question is out of line. And if you can't be there in person, we'll have Skype set up. You can
always Skype in. Yep,
you can always Skype in. So, all of these events are going to be lots of fun. And he's also on the 16th and 17th teaching again, so that between 2 and 4 p.m. there will be the free healing. And on the 18th, and on the 18th is his last day in Calgary, and that will be a flower reading workshop. So, come out to Calgary and support Dr. Jelicic before he goes back to San Diego, where we have another whole slew of events. He is doing the hands-on chakra shop. April 2nd at the Tibetan Healing Center. It's an all-day workshop where you can learn about the chakras, the human biofield, your auras, and
a lot of interest in that one.
Oh, it's going to be an excellent, excellent workshop. And then April 5th is his lecture on externalization of the Christ and finding that just God spot within you. And when we talk about that, we're talking about your inner spirituality, right? Finding out who you are as a beautiful spiritual being here on this earth. April 21st is a full moon meditation. The 22nd to 24th, of course, you'll find him at the Subtle Energy Retreat along with Teresa. So that will be an amazing weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 26th, you're doing Light Up Your Life and Relationship Lecture. And on the 28th, you're doing What is the Human Biofield? And that is another lecture. Mm-hmm. So April is a crazy busy month with lots of great events and speaking engagements. And, I can't stop, before I say also that, you are starting a new group with an introductory weekend in San Diego. And again,
a new healers training group. Yes.
Yeah. At the Tibetan Healing Center, May 21st and 22nd. So listeners, anyone out there that really wants to find out what Dr. Jelicic teaches, what he is all about, what the philosophy is, what his teaching style is, this weekend, the 21st and 22nd of May, is the way to do it. Come out and meet him in person in San Diego and get an understanding. And of course, all these events are on our Light News calendar page at lightnews.org. And then finally, I just wanted to say that we have 5 spaces left. That's it.
Yeah, that filled up quickly.
Didn't it? For the
Yes,
Journey of the Sacred Heart meditation retreat that we are doing in September. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, all the information can be found on our Journeys page at lightnews.org. And one final note from me is every second and fourth Monday of the month, I am working with the students of Dr. Jelicic's training and holding practice sessions where the general public can come and in Alberta, in Calgary, and have free healing. And we are setting them up currently. I haven't got the dates just yet, but we're setting them up for San Diego as well. And this is a great way to come out and get some free energy work done and meet some wonderful people along the way. So our next show will be March, where are we at here? March 23rd is our next show, and that will be with Lori Rhodes. And Lori is a certified nurse, and she's a graduate of the Healers Training, but she also does work with tuning forks. So here we go again, more music and more fun for healing the body.
Yeah, a lot of sound energy dynamics going on here, Deirdre. It just seems to be running in the parallel with what we're doing. So, yeah, don't miss Lori Rhodes. It will be excellent. And just remember also, if you ever miss one of our shows, we record them and they're yours for free to download and listen to as you wish.
That's right. And you can find us on Twitter, Skype, LinkedIn, you name it. We're out there, and we try to be available for all of our listeners. So, don't hesitate to give us a shout at 877-242-5721 or email at info@lightnews.org.
And our website?
www.lightnews.org.
lightnews.org. Just call night or day or in the dead of night as you wish. That's lightnews.org, and operators are standing by.
Yeah.
Well,
and I usually get back to you within 2 days. So
unless there happens to be an obnoxiously loud vacuum running as that just sucks up all the energy at the beginning of the show. Yeah, well, that's your husband. So
he was helping.
You can segue from there on whatever you want to make out of that, Dee.
He was helping.
Well,
what a great show.
We had a great show. It was amazing to have Teresa on. I didn't realize that she was such an accomplished speaker and so vigorous at promoting herself. I think that's wonderful to see one who's so polished, because usually metaphysical people suck at promoting themselves. So she was just great. So, please do take advantage of that free meditation that she's offering you. We on Light News are also offering some free half-hour readings by yours truly over the next few weeks. So we're selecting them by a process that only known to the Rinpoches and the High Lamas and Deirdre.
Go to our Facebook page, like, share, and comment, and you're entered to win.
Oh, you could do that too, I guess. But we are so grateful to you listeners for tuning in to Light News Radio. Realms of Self-Empowerment is what we're all about. We are here to take the mystery out of metaphysics and to help you to discover something you already possess, that you really are a luminous being of light who also has a physical body, and that it really is true that you are not separate from anything whatsoever, and that means a part of all love, all will, all wisdom. It is your legacy to unfold in this time, which we call the golden era of inner transformation. So we love you all very much. We're so happy that you listen to Light News. Download, listen, learn, have a discourse, and continue to evolve yourself. And may the principles of harmlessness and compassion be the ever-constant, ever-present guide of your every intention, your every thought, and your every action. And so it is, so it shall be, it is done. Stay attuned, everyone.
Thank you for joining Dr. J and Deirdre on Light News Radio. Please join us again in 2 weeks, same time, for more exciting tools and techniques for self-empowerment.